So I got a job offer in 2008 during my final year because I just attended some placement interviews in the college. But 2008, we had the recession. Once I graduated, it was the great financial crisis. I did not know what I would get out of this blog, but I wanted to, do something with a little bit of perfection. So I would take the photos from different angles. That's all I had. I had like some 70,000 in my account, and I bought a camera for 60,000. And I felt like I was getting bored and all that. So in 10 months, I quit that job. Again, tried to start something of my own. And my dad was like, at least complete 1 year. You have got a job. How will your profile look?
All right, so today we have somebody very special in our Success Talks series, where we've been able to get an opportunity today to interact with somebody who's been leading in the space of digital marketing, who's an author today, who's a TEDx speaker, and has been able to create several milestones in terms of his entrepreneurial journey. Somebody who started as an entrepreneur, went through several different benchmarks to be able to reach where he is today. And of course, that is none other than Digital Deepak, as we know him fondly. And we have him today with us. We're going to be interacting with him to really find out that where he's been able to reach, what has been the pivotal movements that has really contributed to the success. What are those insights that we can take away from this inspiring journey of Deepak? And of course, having said that at the same time, not to neglect the fact that is the importance and the significance of moving into the space of digital marketing. So welcome, Deepak. Thank you so much for, gracing in the moment where you're now a part of the Success Talks. It's absolutely going to be a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to today's conversation.
And thanks a lot for hosting me, Dr. Gopika.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepak. So I want to start this, interaction, Deepak, by first letting our audience know today that Deepak comes from a space of more than, about 16 plus years of experience in the industry, and something that we are all very, very, queer to find out, which is that how do we become digitally savvy? And, as the name suggests, Deepak, of course, has been known as Digital Deepak in the entire fraternity of speakers, trainers, coaches, and consultancy. So Deepak, why don't you share with us that your journey, which started, back in the year 2008, when you started as an entrepreneur with your Digital Deepak initiative, and today you are back in 2024 with the same, and there has been a whole lot of different benchmarks that went across in between. We would love to hear that from you.
Yeah. So I will try to keep the story short and crisp, because if I go the long route, it might take hours to tell the entire story. So I took civil engineering when I joined college because my dad has a small construction company. And I thought I might never become this computer science IT engineer. That was very clear for me that I would never get into that. Not that I didn't know how to do it, but it didn't, attract me a lot. Civil engineering and mechanical engineering was much more concrete, pun intended. But that way, I was like, okay, I can see things here. Maybe I can learn how to build things. And I think even today, thinking about engineering mechanics, AutoCAD drawings, and all that, it felt very visual for me, and I really enjoyed doing my civil engineering degree. I can't really construct a house right now because I don't have the practice, but as a civil engineer, I think I have perspective thinking on everything that I take, to see it from different perspectives, because that's literally what you do in civil engineering. You see things from different angles, like when you're constructing a house, a 3D object, and stuff like that. So 2008, the IT companies were doing a lot of hiring, and they were hiring everybody. Any engineer will become an IT engineer, right? So I got a job offer in 2008 during my final year because I just attended some placement interviews in the college. But 2008, we had the recession. Once I graduated, it was the great financial crisis manufactured by the central banks of the US due to very low interest rates, and the credit bubble popped and all that happened. So these IT companies were not really giving the joining date. So I had this opportunity where you have a roof over your head. You don't have a pressure that I should be doing something and earning money. You have a computer and internet connection, and it was almost 1 year of free time because only in 2009 they gave the joining date eventually to come and join in Bangalore. So this is something that I think more people should get an opportunity rather than stuffing your day with so many activities. What if you just had free time and you will play games, you will watch movies, but then you will eventually get bored. I was living in a farmhouse, so it was away from the city. Not so much opportunity to hang out with friends also. Only on weekends I used to meet them. So that way, I was thinking like, okay, what shall I do with my time? Okay, I like motorcycles. I will start a motorcycle blog. So my career started with a blog called bikeadvice.in, where I started writing about the motorcycles that were available on sale. None of the other magazine publications were online at that time. So even though only less than 10% of the Indian population was on the internet, I had enough search volume that within 6 months of starting the blog, I had around $100 a month in Google AdSense income, display ads.
Wow.
So it might look simple, like within 6 months I started doing it, but obviously I went through a lot of hoops and loops to even learn how to set up a website, set up a blog. Then I put Google Analytics, and the first Google AdSense account got banned, and then search
And this
ranking
we are
got
talking
really
back in 2008.
eight. Yes.
Wow. So, I want to really highlight this for everyone here who's listening, that with the key mission that we have, the actual interest actually stems right from the very beginning, exactly like the way that, we are being able to hear right now from Deepak's story, which is starting a blog back in 2008. And of course, with his interest in motorcycling, it just aligned together. So what you really love to do, it starts to display in small little different activities that we end up doing for ourselves, right, Deepak? So you
Exactly.
may
Yes.
continue on that.
So I think, if there is a lesson to take away for the audience, is that whatever you do, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, the results are not guaranteed. I did not know what I would get out of this blog, but I wanted to, do something with a little bit of perfection. So I would take the photos from different angles. So whatever I did, I involved myself in it. And that's what entrepreneurship is, right? It's a gamble of efforts. You don't know what effort is going to give you the return, but you put it anyway. And I think more so in our country and all over the world, everybody wants a security, which is like, okay, if I do this engineering degree, I will get a job. If I do this, I will get this result. Tell me what I will get in return, then I will put the effort. It's like saying that, hey, give me heat, then I will put the firewood. It doesn't work like that. You have to put the firewood and then you get back the heat.
So true.
So that way, I think just having that free time and not having any other expenses like living cost or anything gave me the flexibility to start reinvesting whatever I earned back into the blog. And even though it's just started with $100 a month, as soon as I started getting $100, I started paying it to a freelance writer to add even more articles on the blog, apart from what I was doing. By 2010, the blog was making around 1 lakh a month in revenue, and I was reinvesting 1 lakh a month, not a single
Wow.
penny I took home.
Wow.
And I was getting a kick from seeing the growth of the blog, getting more traffic, putting more content, because there are so many bikes, so many things to write about. We did some motorcycle review competition where we asked the readers to submit content, and we started generating user generated content. Out of nowhere, I got an invite from China for a motorcycle exhibition because I think they were searching for Indian motorcycle journalists, and I think they only came across my website.
Okay.
So that way, it kind of helped me visit China. That was my first international trip. It was fully sponsored, and I went all alone, and my dad encouraged me to do. I had to go to Delhi just to get the journalist visa because it's very difficult to get a Chinese visa. They are not very welcoming apart from tourists going inside. So all that, it was a great experience of me just getting exposed to the outside world. I was not the studious guy who cracked IIT GE exam, went into IIT to get that exposure. I was just in a very normal tier 2 city college where I was just doing civil engineering.
Mm.
So by 2011, the blog was getting 1 million page views a month. All the motorcycle manufacturers recognized us. They would invite us on a fully sponsored trip to, when a new motorcycle launches, they would invite us to cover the launch event so that they get some exposure. So all that started happening. I had 4 freelance writers in 4 different cities, and whenever there is a motorcycle event happening in any city, they would go there. And these guys were also in full-time jobs, and they were doing it for passion. The perks of it was that whenever a new motorcycle was launched, we used to get the test ride vehicle, and we used to take out the entire motorcycle for like 2 days so that we can do the review, take the photos, videos, and everything. I bought my first video camera at that time, HD video camera for 60,000 rupees, and that's all I had. I had like some 70,000 in my account, and I bought a camera for 60,000 because my attitude of like wanting to what I am doing, like wanting to do it in perfection, was driving all these financial decisions.
Mm.
By 2012, I felt like the blog's growth was hitting a saturation point, and sometimes you have to do creative destruction. And yes, it's my baby, but the baby has to be weaned away from the parent, right? At some point. So one of the freelance writers who was writing for my blog also quit his job and wanted to do this full time. So he bought the blog from me for $25,000. And that was my first mini startup exit. I should have bought Bitcoin at that time for $25,000, but that didn't happen, even though I came across Bitcoin. Huge regrets there. But anyway, so with this experience, I came to Bangalore. I attended a bunch of digital marketing events. The first event was Ad Tech. And the way I looked at it was that I don't know whether I learned it at some point in my life or it comes as an attitude that I have a very thick skin for rejection. And even in school, when people used to go back home, they used to wait for the town bus because the city is 2 kilometers away from the school is 2 kilometers away from the city. And everybody would wait for the town bus, which is fully packed, and you would have seen the typical people hanging on footboards thing. But I would go and ask for lifts from two-wheelers. But most people did not, because when you ask for a lift, most of the two-wheelers will reject you. They might not even look at you, or they might look at you and turn their head, and that rejection feels painful. But I was like, so what? I'm not taking it personally. Some 5 two-wheelers will pass by. They might not give a lift, but there will be one nice guy who will be like, okay, Aja. And then I will just go on a two-wheeler almost every day. So I tell the story till today because when you ask more, you get more. But when you ask more, you will also get rejected more. So what you get in life is based on how much rejection you can handle, right? So same story when I came to Bangalore, I went to this AdTech event, and in every booth where there was a company, I was like, do you have any job opportunities? And they would ask, like, some people will say no, some people won't respond. Some people will give their business card, but the email will not respond. And there was one booth where they were like, yes, we are looking for people in digital marketing. And at that time, digital marketing term was just evolving in the market. But I was doing digital marketing for 4 years, didn't even call it digital marketing, but I did the SEO, social media, email marketing, everything. We used to call it internet marketing at that time. IM was the keyword. People used to just try to sit at home and make some money using IM. So this experience kind of became my project, my portfolio, my resume. And one company gave a business card, one senior manager gave a business card, and I kept on following up with him almost for a month to get a offline interview in Bangalore. And I came to Bangalore, and my very first job where I got was, it was 11 lakh CTC, which was not bad because my first job offer was 2.75 lakh CTC. And I don't have any corporate experience, but I was able to join this company because I had that portfolio with me. And your portfolio and your project becomes your resume, right? So with that, I was able to negotiate with the HR saying that I already make 1 lakh a month with my blog. I used to make, so anything less than that, I won't accept. So 11 lakh CTC was almost 1 lakh a month. And I obviously said yes, because it was a good opportunity and an opportunity to move out of a tier 2 city. I also feel like moving out of your hometown. Sorry, I missed you there.
Yeah, so I said pretty much a 1 lakh, kind of an opportunity early in the career,
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
be the milestone that, most of us would want to achieve that. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
exceptional.
Yeah, even today, it's still not a small amount, right? It can give you a good lifestyle in a city.
Hmm.
So when I came to Bangalore and started working in this company, within 6 months I got bored, because once the entrepreneurship bug bites you, you can't like really work in a job, and I felt like I was getting bored and all that. So in 10 months I quit that job, again tried to start something of my own. And my dad was like, at least complete 1 year. You have got a job. How will your profile look? And I really argued with my dad to tell him that another 2 months of working here, I will get so demotivated that I might never do anything productive with my life again. I have to quit like right now. So I was adamant, because once you are done with something, you are done with something, right? Once you have had that idea in your mind, it doesn't go away. And then from there, it was a very bumpy ride of trying to start something of my own again, and working in jobs. So I will forward from 2013 to 2016. I worked for 6 months in a company called Exotel as a digital marketing manager. It's a cloud telephony company. Then I worked for 6 months in Practo, which is a medical app company. Then I worked at Instamojo for 8 months, and then I completed 1 year at Razorpay. And within all these jobs, I had 2-3 months of doing some side gigs, doing some training. So Digital Vidya was the first company who hired me as a digital marketing trainer. And Digital Deepak blog was started in 2013 itself. And when I started it, it was just supposed to be something that adds to my resume. And I was not that regular with my blogging. I just posted 2 articles on average a month, but I did it for 4 years continuously. And while I was working at Razorpay, I had 10,000 subscribers on my Digital Deepak blog. It was getting some 200 visitors a day. That's it. So what happened was that uh, Razorpay may also, I was getting bored, and I was like, I need to start something of my own. Maybe now is the time. I will keep thinking about it. Probably will never get around to it. So what I learned from Bike Advice was that if you have a lot of traffic, it is not going to make a lot of money for you. You need a product or a service that you can sell to your audience, make profit and make revenue. In Bike Advice, I was writing about motorcycles, and the motorcycle accessory market was not as big as it is today. I could not reach out to corporates and try to get their advertisement on my blog, and advertisements also don't pay well. So it was only Google AdSense. So with 1 million page views a month, the revenue was maximum $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And I could not do the math that, hey, if I put $1, can I get $1.5 out? There was no funnel that way. It's just that you keep on publishing articles, keep on getting traffic, and just hope that Google sends you traffic via SEO.
Correct.
So I felt that I need to have a product. So I had a clarity, because I worked at Instamojo, because I worked at Razorpay. I think the biggest thing that I have gained from them in terms of experience was market intelligence.
Correct.
Because I was able to see which companies were making how much revenue, because I am sitting in a payment gateway. I can see the backend, right? How much money is flowing in.
Yeah.
And I started noticing that people who are selling bank exam coaching, SSB coaching, IITG coaching, they were making like 10 lakhs a month, 20 lakhs a month, and they were the highest transacting merchants inside Instamojo payment gateway. And that gave me an idea, a very clear idea that, hey, I can do the same thing again. I can get traffic and I can reach people, but I need to have something to sell.
Yeah.
Take that revenue, put it back into ads and grow my audience.
Correct.
So I was like, if I go ahead and launch a course, I need to motivate myself to create the course first, which is difficult. So rather than trying to think that, hey, we are all going to be very productive, I am more like, I accept that I'm a lazy person, but I put myself in situations where laziness and procrastination is not an option, that I have to do it.
Yeah.
So that's how you have to hack yourself into getting work done.
Yes, I'm going to come to the Learn
Yeah.
Today journey, a little later, because, I would really want to, align the pieces that we have just spoken out together. And, and very interesting element that really comes along is that something that we started back in 2008. And for so many of us who continue to find our deep why within, sometimes we don't realize that we have actually started working on what we truly love and what our passion is much earlier through small little events and activities. And
Yes.
for every contribution that you did by opening up your blog or talking about motorcycles and then transitioning to take up a job. But even while, and I want to highlight this for everyone here, that even while Deepak was transitioning himself to a job, his passion was completely aligned with what he always wanted to do. Whether, he's working at Exotel, or whether we're talking about he's working at Theorem, it was moving into the space of getting to find out more and more about digital marketing. And if I'm correct, Deepak, you also worked across with brands, some, brands like which have really, really made it big in terms of getting them leads. And
Mm.
at that time, search engine optimization and AdWords was something not very familiar or talked about on a day-to-day basis. And he did that for Practo, and he did that moving on to Instamojo and being able to generate that, and then of course moving across to working with brands which the entire industry is working with, which means working along with brands like Razorpay thereby as well. So every little milestone that I've been able to realize that the way that you've been sharing was always aligned with what you were truly, truly enjoying. And
Yes.
that's where somewhere you were able to create the results even for your clients. You were
Yes.
even able to create the results, whether it was for Instamojo, whether it was for Razorpay, whether it was for Practo, and then moving into the space where you said that I have launched myself into digital Deepak since 2013, and then writing a blog. It was a consistent, persistent effort which was
Mm.
aligned with the work that you were doing and fetching you, of course, the finances to make sure that you were independent and making it really, really run well. So that
Yeah.
gives us the insights, where we're talking about the entrepreneurial skill sets. And that brings me to the aspect, for everybody, that we all always aspire to be an entrepreneur. And specifically in our community, we have a lot of speakers, trainers, coaches. Everybody aspires to be a speaker, trainer, coach. And while they want to be an entrepreneur, they say that, will we be able to get into a position where we can leave a job? So, I want to really talk to each one of you if you're listening to this, which is it's possible as far as it's aligned with your true mission that you're really wanting to connect, right? And we have something very interesting to what Deepak has been able to create as an integration of creating all these experiences together. And today what he's doing, and we're going to be bringing that out very soon. But before we really get into speaking about what Deepak has been able to do now and really pursuing his passion deeply as well, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who are scared of digital marketing, Deepak, isn't it? And this is a space where not only speakers, trainers, coaches, I feel, but I feel that every entrepreneur or professional somewhere deep down the line wants to get into the space of digital marketing, right? For themselves personally and professionally. Would you like to share with us that what are the trends, as per that we say, that you'd
Mm.
like to recommend to them? Or is it just a hype that we should not go by the trends? We should do something that really, we understand, in
Mm.
the space of digital marketing. What
Yeah.
would you recommend?
So I will connect that story, back into my journey. So the way I look at digital marketing is that it's not a career skill; it's a life skill. Engineering, medical, CA, whatever that might be in terms of skill sets, might be specific industry specific skills, career skills. But I would say that digital marketing is a life skill because just like English is a life skill, right? If you know English and you can communicate, um, it's basically network effects that a lot of people are speaking English. You can also speak English. Here we are using English as a language. If you know English, you can do well in any career that you are. Digital marketing is basically amplification of what you have as thoughts. So if I have some thought, if I want to share it with you, I need to know the language. And digital marketing is basically amplifying those thoughts into a broader audience, right? Whether it's lead generation, email newsletters, SEO. Um, what was the first technology for amplification? It was a microphone and a loudspeaker. Until that came, people had to like shout on a podium and
Correct.
they could not probably reach more than a few hundred people. Today, we have stadiums where 10,000 people gather and you have a microphone and a loudspeaker, but you have to be at the same time and at the same place if you have to
Correct.
communicate as a one-to-many communication.
Mhm.
Here we can do different time and different place. You are sitting somewhere, I'm sitting here. The audience watching it is watching it later. So we are doing it at a different time and different place. And digital marketing is basically a skill to amplify your voice, whether you are looking for a job, whether you are looking for customers of your business, or if you are a politician looking for voters and convincing voters, you need digital marketing, right? So that is how I would say digital marketing is. And also here, I would like to also say that I don't want the audience to think that I came with a special set of skills. We all learn along the way. And it's not like, I would not use the word fake it till you make it, but you can't wait for all the signals to turn green before you start the car. You just have to jump into it and eventually somehow survive it. So when I joined Practo, one small example was that 11 o'clock, the VP of marketing calls me and tells me that ads are running in Bangalore, but it says doctors in Pune. Can you please check? So I had screwed up the ad copy somewhere, put the targeting as Bangalore, and the ad text was find doctors in Pune.
Okay.
And Pune, it was running as find doctors in Bangalore. So we all have done such mistakes. And then I say, sorry. And immediately at 11 o'clock, I sit and edit it. So in entrepreneurship, I feel that everybody keeps waiting for the perfect opportunity, but it will never happen. You just have to jump into it. And coming back to that, hacking yourself into productivity. So I launched the course into my 10,000 subscriber list. And once the course was launched, it was a pre-launch. So I told that the course will be 2,000 rupees, but you pay 999 rupees. And I will launch the course 10 days later. This is the launch date. And because you are pre-ordering the course, I am going to give you a 50% off. So instead of 2,000, you just pay 1,000. So you need distribution. So they always say that first time entrepreneurs build products, second time entrepreneurs build distribution. And I think my whole career started with building a distribution using my blog. So because I had the distribution, I could get pre-orders. And in the very first launch, without a sales page, without a webinar, without a video sales letter, without a box pack, it was just an email with a list of lessons that I will be recording and releasing it to them. There was no LMS also at that time.
Yeah.
And I just sent an InstaMojo link on email to 10,000 subscribers because these 10,000 subscribers had a relationship with me because I have been mailing them slowly over a period of time and they have been learning from me. So I got 2.5 lakhs in sales even before I had my first product.
Wow.
Now, if I don't create the product, I have to refund 2.5 lakhs, which is extremely painful. So I sat on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in a weekend. And in a weekend, I finished a 2 to 3 hour mastery course where I recorded all the sessions. And I was extremely uncomfortable recording it because the first version of your product is never perfect. But I have to release it on Monday morning. Otherwise, I have to refund all these people. So whatever it is to some satisfaction, don't be a perfectionist. Good enough is good enough. Go ahead and launch it. And people actually liked the course. And that is how you build your confidence as a coach, speaker, trainer, mentor, that you have a small set of audience who kind of keeps giving you that boost. Hey, this is awesome. Do more of it. Hey, this is awesome. So positive feedback, you just ride on it because otherwise putting yourself out there into a possible criticism is very uncomfortable for us. And that's how you might have also started with a lot of hesitation. You put a little bit of content out there, see some positive traction, and then you ride on it.
Correct.
So yeah, from fast forward to there, kept on launching courses, got into edtech, built my agency, Pixel Track Unlearn today. And that's how I have got here to where I am. And the one thing is that entrepreneurship there are so many moving parts. It feels like you are standing in front of a hill and you are supposed to, let's say, or like eating an elephant or whatever analogy that you want to use. It's just like so vast, so big, so many things to do. And you get so paralyzed looking at the volume of work that goes into entrepreneurship. And you just have to cut out all that noise away and just look at, hey, what can I do today? Maybe today I can write an article. Maybe today I can make a video.
So
And
true.
these
So
small
I'm gonna,
drops
find
accumulate.
out, something that really catches my attention here. You mentioned that it's so vast that it literally paralyzes us. It makes us, feel so overwhelmed. So, this is something which is going to be for a whole lot of, the industry where they're wanting to get into digital marketing, but they don't know where to start. So we're talking about whether we're getting into blogging or we're talking about getting into social media or we're talking about paid ads, organic, non-organic, whether we're talking about email marketing, getting into LinkedIn. And there is an overwhelm of information, whether we're getting into Instagram or YouTube, today threads and everything. So is there a blueprint or is there a way that you would want to suggest for somebody who's beginning to think to create a space for themselves into digital marketing?
start writing 500 words every day. I write 1,000 to 2,000 words every day. Either it's a book chapter or a blog post or a video script or whatever it is, but start writing. Because writing is basically a way of thinking. What you have as inspiration thoughts, it's very chaotic inside your mind. And when you have to put it into words and when you have to communicate it to other person, then you have to structure the entire thing, because you can't like go blabbering about it as if like you are thinking, right? That is where I am skeptical whether Elon Musk's neural link will be actually effective in communicating to other humans directly via thoughts. Might not happen because thoughts are chaotic. But when you write, you can pause, you can rewrite, you can delete a sentence, you can put a sentence on top, paragraph on top, another paragraph on the bottom, and you can build a structure to it. And while you are doing that, your thinking becomes more organized. So I feel like I have become to some level a digital marketing expert because I taught digital marketing. I wrote about digital marketing. So there is going to be always this 80-20 rule where 80% of the audience out there, they are just bored, they want some entertainment, and they have very low attention spans. The 20% of the audience, probably the audience who has got up to this point in the interview, has a very high attention span, right? And the high attention span audience, I don't have a specific name for it. Maybe I can come up with something in the future. But this 20% of the audience, generally you will see them buy books. If not, they are all the time reading books. They're at least buying books, which means they are book readers. They have that attention span to sit and read at least 10% of a book, or a 15-minute blog post to read, or a 45-minute podcast to listen to, or they listen to audiobooks, right? So 80% of the audience out there does not do this. So ignore them completely. And if you think that, hey, I will build my brand on Instagram or any social media channel, you are attracting the wrong kind of audience who will probably not even have the attention span to listen to your sales message. If you want to go very generic, very high level, talk about politics, humor, Bollywood, then go for it. You will probably get some sponsorships if you make it to millions of views in YouTube. But for most of us as mentors, coaches, trainers, personal brands, we don't need millions of people. We need probably a few thousand people, but who can pay that level of attention to what we do. Okay. So my primary growth has been only via email marketing and blogging. So start a blog or start a free Substack newsletter and start gaining subscribers. You might have 50 subscribers or 100 subscribers to start with. But as long as you even have 100 people listening to you, you write to them. And when you are writing, don't try to go all fancy and use sophisticated language, like as if you are writing an essay in school. You might get points for using sophisticated language in an essay in school, or a PhD thesis you are writing. Don't write like that. Write as if you write an email to a friend, and know your audience, know who your audience is. Talk to them, interact with them, meet them in real life, understand where they are coming from. And even if you are writing to, so right now I have an email list of 3 lakh active subscribers, but when I'm writing, the writing will be as if I'm writing an email to one particular friend that, hey, this is what I did yesterday, this is what I am doing today, and this is what I learned recently. So I'm just writing like very, very simple language. So start writing and write every day. Your thinking will start getting refined. Your thoughts will get better. Also, you should be reading a lot, because without input, there won't be any output. So you should also be a content consumer to be a content creator. And slowly this will start getting traction. And I feel that email is the best way to reach out to your audience, the serious kind of audience. And if you do that, eventually you will get traction. You can have products and services, you can make revenue, and then hire people like social media managers or whoever, who can take pieces from your long form content. It could be podcasts, it could be long form videos or long emails, and ask them to cut out those pieces and put it on social media in various different formats. Lovely. It can give you an additional traction, but don't depend on any social media channel, because you don't own your audience. If you have Instagram followers, they are Instagram's users, not your users. Your users are when they give their email ID to you. So start with a simple form where they can subscribe. So that's what I would ask everybody to get started. And you might be blogging for 3 months without seeing any light at the end of the tunnel, but don't write to get some result. Write for yourself, because just like a public journal, you start writing. Writing is therapeutic. It's a flow state, right? That's how I feel. Like every day morning, I write 1,000 words. As soon as I get up after brushing my teeth, even before having my coffee, that's my rule.
And
Write
how
1,000.
long does it take for you to write 1,000 words, Deepak?
It takes as much as a 1,000-word email to a friend, which means around half an hour.
Half an hour.
And I don't go into like editing, trying to structure it. What will people think? Like, I should make it look better. No, the content should be focused on, or your effort should be focused on trying to pass the message. You become the message. You don't think about how the message will be perceived and how it is going to affect your personal brand, right?
So do you
Like,
rewrite it?
yeah, I mean, um, like for example, when a dancer is really into dancing, it's just dancing. There is no dancer, right? When somebody is singing, it's just singing. There is no singer. The singer takes the back seat. The singing is the only thing that is there in the moment. So when you are writing, your entire energy, like all your soul energy, whatever you call it, like the whole being has to be in the words, in the content,
Yeah.
with an intention to communicate something to your target audience, rather than thinking about how this is going to be perceived and how it is going to be affecting my perception, because that's where people struggle as content creators, because they worry too much about how they are going to be perceived. But you have to put yourself vulnerable as a content creator and go ahead and just say what you want to say with an intention of passing the message and nothing else. Your brand will build eventually, right?
Correct. So,
Mm, so
I want to bring in the
yeah.
element, Deepak, that, a lot of people today who are wanting to get into writing, they are definitely making use of the chat GPT and, of course, different mediums now. That, how do you think that, we can send out a message to inspire them to really keep it authentic?
See, the way I look at it is that when you had Google, initially we used to check cricket scores at Cricinfo or CricBuzz. We used to visit various websites for song lyrics. And Google eventually replaced all these content creators because this content is just data and information. It doesn't change, it's the static thing. Song lyrics are the same. Weather report, it can pull it from somewhere. Calculators, everything now Google shows it by itself, and those content creators got affected. Now, how are you adding value if you are just pulling data from somewhere and giving it? ChatGPT does it in a little bit of a better way, but whatever you see on ChatGPT is the rear view mirror. In AI, unless we achieve artificial super intelligence or AGI, general intelligence, they call it, I don't know. But as for now, and for the time being, at least for the next few years, I can confidently say that AI can mimic, like just like a parrot repeating a human. That doesn't mean the parrot is intelligent enough to talk. AI can only take the content that is out there until now and put it in a presentable way, which means that if you have data to be presented in a textual format, it can kind of form the sentences for you. But end of the day, the videos or the text that you write or images you create or whatever content that you create is only a medium. The medium is enabling a human to human connection. And human to human connection can only happen between human to human, because human to humans can have relatability, can have suffering, right? Humans have suffering. Like when I say about my career challenges that I couldn't stick to any job, maybe somebody will be like, yeah, I also could not stay in any job, and it's not like I need to feel guilty that I quit all my jobs without completing a 2-year stretch. And that is relatable. How can that be related through an AI? Because AI does not suffer, so you can't have a relatability with them. If I meet a friend, if I meet somebody in a conference, random person, and we discover that, hey, we went to the same school, and the same teacher taught both of us, and the teacher used to beat us, and suddenly you are in the same plane of suffering, then you have an instant connection. Hey, I also suffered, you also suffered. So I think one thing that AI can never do that humans are capable of is to suffer, and that's what connects us, right? Whether it's a nation suffering, whether it is like whether it is a particular sect of people who have relatability, that hey, I also come from the place that you came. So human connection is the last frontier of technology, right? Everything can be automated, and everything that can be automated should be automated, but a story cannot be automated. A past of what the human has been through cannot be done by AI.
And that has also
That's what
been,
I feel.
beautifully illustrated by something that you have done for your community, which is that you have built up one of the largest groups on
Uh,
Facebook, which talks about digital marketing. And of course, it talks about what you're writing on a day to day basis. But
mm,
it's not easy to have a community who wants to really, really follow you. So, what are those, that competitive edge that you have, Deepak, that keeps the community with you today? Because everybody today needs to have a following.
mm.
What would be, your takeaway from what you've done so far?
So I think my following has been primarily built with my email communication
Hmm.
and my YouTube subscribers, my social media following, Instagram following, Facebook group, everything stemmed out from my email and blog. And whenever I write an email and blog, I also feel that inspiration kind of comes and knocks your door. And if you don't answer the door, it goes away. And then that piece of content is lost forever. So there have been times where I have written early in the morning. There have been times where I have written late in the night, suddenly out of nowhere in the afternoon, because I thought something about my life. And I don't want to be seen as a self-development coach, but I do write a lot of life stuff also to my email list. One of the email campaigns that is very famous in my community is I wrote an email that why you should be selfish, that unless you nurture yourself, you won't be capable of nurturing others. And everybody is pulling you in all the directions, expecting something from you, but you have to learn to say no to all these requests. And that is something that came out of my own life experience, that I suddenly felt that I was saying yes to too many things. Friend has a request, mom has a request, dad has a request, wife has a request. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. And then I'm like drained and exhausted. And I need to learn to say no and to set boundaries. And when that thought came to me, I immediately sat and wrote about it. Right? You have to have that essence, because even if you take notes, even if you capture audio notes and then you write later,
Hmm.
that energy is not there in the writing, because you have to write with an emotion and you have to write when that emotion strikes. So that probably helped me kind of create a very strong bond with my audience.
Lovely. So, I think you've been able to speak, really about the significance, Deepak, so much about letting our emotions out. And this can be such an interesting way to vent it out. It becomes more real. It helps us to get connected with people. It goes out in the form of email, our content marketing. We can create different versions of it, whether we want to create captions or, standstill posts for the same. I think that's absolutely an excellent takeaway. So I have also been able to, really understand that this entire writing also led to the creation of an entire book, right?
Mm,
Which you
mm,
have
yes.
mentioned. And, you've also been a TEDx speaker where you've spoken about entrepreneurship, in this very digital age. So I really want to understand that what are the opportunities, that you'd like to highlight for the fraternity of speakers, trainers, and coaches? What are the opportunities for entrepreneurship for them?
So I think a lot of people get caught in the niche selection part, that, hey, what should I do? Like, which
Mhm.
opportunity that I should follow? And I would give credit to Raj Shamani for actually articulating it very well, that you attract an audience who are like you. So you are the niche. And you don't need like lakhs and lakhs of people. You might get there, but even if you have like 1,000 true fans, that's enough for you to earn a living as a creator.
Right.
Because today I can launch, let's say, a 30-day spirituality course and I can still get people to sign up, even though I might not do that. It's you who are the product, it's not the content. So if somebody is writing content with their life experience, that will be perceived as higher value, even if I write content. Like, for example, I have a client who is in the parenting niche and she is teaching other mothers how to raise kids. Even if I try to curate content which is better content than her content will still be perceived better than mine, because she is the niche and
Correct.
she's the product, right?
Very.
And people trust her more because she has gone through that experience, right? So that way, a lot of people get caught up thinking that, hey, I need to go and choose this particular opportunity as a creator, choose this particular niche and try to expand into that niche. But end of the day, you can pick one niche which is a need in the market. Like, for example, what I chose was digital marketing. But it's end of the day, it is your personality, the other things that you talk about, including some personal life traits that you show on Instagram, or you can put pictures on email also. Like Ankur Wariko writes a newsletter. I don't follow him on any social media channel, but I am on his email list. And he just sends pictures from this week. This is where I went. This is the book I'm reading. And
Yeah.
this is my house. He's sitting and playing with his dog or something like that. And that personal side is definitely important because humans connect with humans,
Humans.
humans connect with stories. And the image of you that is there on people's minds is based on how you curate, how you put yourself out there. So there might be, people who hesitate to put out there, but you have to be unapologetically you
Yeah.
with all your flaws, right? Like humans are attracted to each other's rough edges. If it is so smooth, then it doesn't stick. You need rough edges. So people like you will find your rough edge audience who is as crazy as you, where the crazy in the sense the broader community might feel like, hey, this guy is like a cult. He has a following, and his readers are like going mad with this personal brand. And you have to build your own cult, right? For the outside world, it might look crazy, but so what?
That
You are
makes
just being
sense.
you. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So,
Mm.
because of which, you know, I think, I've been able to really join dots to, what even I have been doing for so many years, an academician turned trainer to, an image consultant today, completely in the space of communication. And you truly, your vibe, as we say, attracts the right tribe.
Yes, yes,
So
exactly.
that's what we're really talking about. So, I've been able to understand that while you have really progressed in your journey, today you're back to a position where you are an entrepreneur with, your learn today. And I wanted to let this, be known to all our audience here today. That is, an initiative which is not just for online courses. And this is really coming out from his love for writing and his love for understanding from his past, where he's connected dots from Instamojo and Razorpay, which is that, where is the traffic coming in the maximum, where you've been able to launch, of course, Learn Today in 2021, if I'm correct, right?
Mm, mm.
Now, there's everybody around in the online education space. But with your experience understanding digital marketing and launching Learn Today, my real intriguing question to you here is that which technique are you using to make Learn Today digitally viral?
In terms of the growth,
Yes.
email marketing. Yes. So
Wow.
the way I look at it is that the email list and the list of contacts and the relationship I have with them is the asset.
Yeah.
So I didn't take out much profits from my company. Just like Bike Advice, whenever I ran companies, I was always aggressively reinvesting the profits back into growth. And when you have an email list, and especially when you have a autoresponder sequence that, hey, I have a 30-day course on digital marketing, sign up for free. Once people enter their name and email ID for the next 30 days, they are getting one lesson every day. And these are very well curated lessons. So what you are doing is that you are spending money on ads. Let's say you are spending 20 rupees a lead. Now you are communicating digitally on automation without you being there to these leads for the next 30 days. And you are building an authority on automation with them. And this becomes an asset. So using my email list, I have launched so many other people's brands as well and got them off ground because I have the distribution. So whenever I made revenue, whenever I made profit, so the way I look at it is that I don't look at profit as profit in the company. I have fixed expenses. That's email marketing tools, your office salary, maybe one or two helpers you have, team members. You take your own salary so that you can pay your bills. And whatever is remaining, which can be potentially taken out as profit, I put it back into ads.
Mm.
And I put it back into ads not to advertise my product, but to advertise my content, which is a 30-day email newsletter. So once people come into the funnel, now they are engaged for 30 days. They build a relationship with me, and whatever broadcast emails I send, they open it and they pay attention to it because I've already added that value. So what is trust basically? If I give you 500 rupees for something and you take that 500 rupees, you take that 500 rupees because you trust that other people will accept this 500 rupees in return for products and services. So money is end of the day trust. So rather than taking profits and then putting it into equities, real estate, or a fixed deposit and trying to put the money there, I would rather put the money in the trust building with more and more audience. And that is how the email list has built to such a large thing. And I will continue doing until the end of my life. Right. I might become 40 years old and then I might have a million people email list. So I have told that I will only call myself a millionaire if I have a list of a million active people on my list. That's when I'm a millionaire.
Wow,
Not in
nice.
terms of
Interesting.
dollar terms or any other terms, right?
Interesting. But
Hmm.
how do you classify that? how much time does it take to build trust? I understand this as 3-to-1 formula. You send 3
Yeah.
value emails and then
Uh,
1 mail where you're being able to sell across your services, right? So what is your formula for this, Deepak?
it's very difficult to say because there will be people who join my email list and within a month they buy something from me because they just clicked and paid a lot of attention. And they were also in a position in their life where they could take the course. I have people on my email list who joined in 2017, 2018, who bought a launch last month when I launched the product. Until then, they were just silently sitting in my email list.
Okay.
So don't think that audience comes in, they buy, and if they don't buy, they will never buy. If they are paying you attention, then you are doing something right. People pay you attention before they pay you money.
Hmm.
So if they are paying attention, that's also a form of currency.
Yeah.
So keep nurturing them, and keep adding them to your email list, because whether your list is 10,000, 1 lakh, or a million, the effort of writing is the same. You write, hit send, and it goes out to the entire audience.
Wow. Nice.
So some people will take long time to build trust because they might have trust issues. Some people will instantly click and build trust with you, and you need to cover all of that.
Yeah. So, as I always say, get known to be, to get paid. And that's where this entire journey starts, irrespective of the industry that we are in. So, one very important takeaway, because I know that, we can all speak about digital marketing, on and on. What the real takeaway has been for me, really has been that focus on nurturing, focus on, creating value-based content, which is not AI generative, which is focusing on our emotions, right? And being able to tap into those emotions when you're feeling them, not like aaj kar lenge, kal kar lenge, when the entire thought has actually gone away. And we are not able to really pass on that vibe, to others as well. Not
Learn to
only,
tell a
I think,
story. If you have to put it in one line, learn to tell a story.
learn to tell a story. So storytelling becoming an
Storytelling, like
increasingly
whole
important.
humanity has been built on storytelling. There were no books or anything to pass on wisdom and communication. It was all told in the form of stories before we had written language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting. So I think that's something that I'm going to store in for another interactive session, because this discussion can go on and on. But
Yes.
one thing that I would want to share with everyone here is that whichever industry that you're in, whatever profession that you're following, in the space of digital marketing, start creating an email list, because you would want them to hear the kind of work that you're creating and the kind of impact that you're going to make, right? And it all starts with writing every single day. So
Exactly.
thank you so much, Deepak, on that note. And, I would let this discussion rest here and leave, a whole lot to be discussed for the next discussion that we're going to get into. So
Sure,
thank you
sure.
so much for coming in and sharing your beautiful and lovely insights today.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Gopika.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepak.